Keno North Stadium in Tucson, Arizona is the site of the 2017 Desert Diamond Cup, and Sporting Kansas City and the Colorado Rapids will be starting things off. Sporting Kansas City and Colorado with their first preseason games of this leg of their preseason competition. Ape Ukady along with Matt Lawrence and Jillian Carroll will be on the sideline for us today as we take a look at our starting lineups. First off, for Sporting Kansas City, Matt, some very familiar faces out there, but three new ones that we'll be anxious to look at today. Latif Blessing and Jerso Fernandez on the wings, and Ilie Sanchez in that holding midfield role.
Yeah, very much so. Look, all the familiar faces out there, we don't need to talk about these, but these three new guys, Peter Vermees spoke at length over the summer about the fact that he needed to add pace, power and youth to the side, and with these three guys you've certainly got that. Latif Blessing and Jerso Fernandez on the wings, a lot of pace, not only that, real good eye for goal as well. We know we've got Dom Dwyer up front who can bang in 15 or 20 in a season, but a good team is judged by the second and third goal scorers, and those two guys are really going to add goals as well as that pace we talked about.
Meanwhile, also some new faces for the Colorado Rapids. Liam Callahan, Sam Hamilton, Courtney Ford, and Nana Boateng are all new to the Rapids this season.
Yeah, they've very much mixed it up here. They've got experienced players and a lot of young guys as well. 6 under-25s in this Colorado team.
Alan Chapman is our referee, and we are underway in the Arizona sun here on what is an absolutely beautiful day for the first day of the Desert Diamond Cup. 3 matches will be taking place on this field here at Keno North Complex. Of course, Sporting Kansas City dressed in the sporting blue tops with the indigo blue shorts, and you see the Colorado Rapids in their customary primary kits with the maroon tops and white shorts. Here's Latif Blessing, the young Ghanaian who was signed as just a 19-year-old for Sporting Kansas City, who was muscled off the ball, and then it's Ilie Sanchez going into a sliding challenge in that holding midfield role, which he knows so well from his time in the Barcelona Academy.
Yeah, very much so. 6 seasons spent with Barcelona, specifically with the B team as well. It really is difficult to break into the Barcelona first team, but it's also difficult to break into that B team, and he's got bags of experience there in that holding midfield role. Just a little earlier as well, you said it, Nate, Latif Blessing muscled off the ball. That's the only problem Latif has got. 5'7", probably about 130, 140 pounds at most. It's how he deals with the rigours of the MLS.
Very physical league as well. We just saw Benny Feilhaber get chopped down for the foul. Benny Feilhaber in good spirits after his reintroduction to the U.S. men's national team, in which he was really one of the stars in those 2 friendlies.
Yeah, he certainly was. I don't think that it takes a genius to work out that him and Jurgen Klinsmann didn't get along. He'd been in the side under Bob Bradley, Benny Feilhaber, and has now come back into the side under Bruce Arena. And you said it, against Serbia and Jamaica, he really did play a pivotal role in that side. I think he's somebody who Bruce Arena is certainly going to be looking to in the games coming up in the future.
Giveaway from Roger Espinoza. Sam Hamilton stepping in for the Colorado Rapids to intercept one of those newcomers we talked about for the Rapids. Sam Hamilton, he was the number 15 overall pick out of Denver, so right there as a hometown kid, and part of a team that went undefeated at Denver University in the regular season 2 years in a row. Yeah,
that's a phenomenal feat to do it for 1 season, but for 2 seasons that really is quite remarkable. I think Clemson did it back in 77 and 78, so that just shows you what a historic program has been built up here at Denver.
Well, Matt, people that don't know you will identify that you're from across the pond by listening to you speak, but you played Division I soccer here in the United States, so you can speak to the rigors of trying to go undefeated through the course of a regular season.
Yeah, very much so, and that was a long time ago, I hasten to add. Back in '92, I came over here for 4 years at a college in upstate New York, Hartwick College. Yeah, and it was tough back then, but the college system has increased in stature and in class as well, I hasten to add. So that really is a no mean feat for 2 seasons in the regular season undefeated.
Feilhaber trying the long diagonal ball, intercepted by Eric Miller. Here's Marlon Hairston, who really came on strong in the second half of the Rapids last year, trying to play the ball through for Liam Callahan, but a little too heavy on the touch.
Yeah, it was. It's both of these teams here finding their feet. The pitch obviously out here in the desert is very, very dry. We didn't see it being watered before the game, so it is quite a tough surface for the players to get used to. And as well, we must just say as well how strong the wind is as well.
There's a long-range effort off the foot of Nana Boateng, and thankfully for us, he wants to be going by the first name of Nana.
I'm not even going to.
A little easier for us.
It certainly does. I'm not going to try and pronounce either of his first two names there. Boateng, somebody who's come in from Manchester City, spent a couple of seasons at Manchester City, and it says in his biog that he likes to model his game on Yaya Toure. So we, as Sporting KC fans, hope that he isn't quite up to the standard of Yaya Toure just yet.
Here's Latif Blessing, muscled off the ball once again, but this time he earns the foul from referee Alan Chapman. A lot of buzz about the pace of Latif Blessing since joining Sporting Kansas City.
And I think he needs to find space on the pitch as well. If he goes man-to-man with Eric Miller, there's only going to be one winner there, and certainly in terms of physical stature. If he can get turned, if he can face up Eric Miller, and if he can get a run at him, then Eric Miller's going to be extremely worried. Latif Blessing, we've seen in training, very, very quick. As I've mentioned, has an eye for goal as well. It is just that physical stature at the moment that is slightly worrying for me. But as I say, as the game progresses, well, I'm sure we'll see him come into his own.
There's a miscue from Zach McMath, the goalkeeper. Now, very interesting story with Zach McMath, because he was the Rapids co-MVP last year along with their other goalkeeper, Tim Howard. McMath was 9-2-5 as the starter for the Rapids last year, so he did nothing to lose his job other than the fact that the Rapids had signed one of the best goalkeepers in American history, who was eligible to come in after those 16 games.
Yeah, you always say, and coaches always say, that you earn the right to wear the shirt, and Zach McMath definitely did that last season. It's just a shame for him personally that, to bring in a goalkeeper of Tim Howard's stature, it's going to be a big struggle for McMath to hold down his place in this team. Obviously at the moment Tim Howard's out injured. We saw him just before the game in training. He looks to be progressing to somewhere near fitness, but for now, Zach McMath is the #1 goalkeeper for the Colorado Rapids.
Here's Blessing on the ball, back to Roger Espinoza. Now Ilie Sanchez trying to chip it on for Feilhaber, who might have misread it just a tad. And it's cleared out by Courtney Ford.
We're already seeing, aren't we, that Ilie Sanchez very, very comfortable on the ball, as we'd assume from somebody, as we say, who grew up, was schooled the Barcelona way, at their academy system for a good number of seasons. Looks very comfortable on the ball, always looking forward as well.
Feilhaber tried the quick touch for Graham Zusi, but it's out for a Rapids throw-in.
I think it's interesting to see Graham Zusi as well at right back, as he has been for the last couple of games for the US national team. Don't want to get known as a jack of all trades, master of none. Graham Zusi is somebody who is very accomplished in a number of positions, but I think he'll want to get a foothold in the team and at a certain position, a specific position. It looks as though that could well be right back this season.
We just saw Latif Blessing put a defender on the ground with a turn, but Sporting Kansas City end up giving it away. Zusi to break up the play. It goes back to Mark Birch.
Yeah, the game, as we'd expect right now, with this wind as well, this reasonably difficult surface. Game's pretty disjointed at the moment. Neither team managing to string too many passes together, as once again Zach McMath has given the ball away.
The veteran Seth Sinovic, who intercepts, trying to work his way through. Didn't get the run that he was looking for, but Seth Sinovic, a player who kind of worked his way back into that starting 11 with a strong showing over the last 3 or 4 games of the regular season in 2016. Yeah,
very much a very accomplished left back, Seth Sinovic. I think it'll be interesting to see how it pans out throughout the season, but I think he's somebody who's got to be looking for, at this stage in his career, has got to be looking to be playing 20 to 30 games. Moving into his 30s, he'll want to really establish himself back as the #1 left back in the Sporting KC side.
Doyle and Espinoza going into a challenge for a 50-50 ball, and Roger is called for the foul. It is a bit breezy and cool here, this leg of camp in Tucson, Arizona. The temperatures have been in the 60s, maybe low 70s at the warmest since the team arrived back in Tucson on Sunday. Feilhaber is dispossessed from behind by Boateng. It's all the way back to Tim Melia. Matt Beasler back from off-season ankle surgery himself. He got some action into the first phase of camp, but now out there in the starting 11 here in the second phase. Gerso Fernandez with the turn. With the left foot, shot took a deflection, I believe. He's appealing for a corner and he will get one.
Well, that's what he's all about, Gerso Fernandez there. Beat Liam Callaghan, all ends up. Left-footed, right-sided player, cuts inside Ford, but it's a good last-ditch tackle from Ford, and the ball is deflected behind for the first corner of the game to Sporting KC. That is what Fernandez is all about, cutting in from the right-hand side onto his left foot and shooting on goal.
Feilhaber to do the honors, and it finds the forehead of Opara, but he fails to put the redirection on frame.
It's a great ball whipped in there from the corner from Benny Feilhaber. It's a decent run from Opara. Just miscued the header, went a long way over the crossbar.
You see the frustration from Opara there. Felt he should have done better. Dom Dwyer stepping in front of Courtney Ford, who's a recently signed homegrown player for the Colorado Rapids after he also played his college ball at the University of Denver. Now Hairston. Sam Cronin. And Boateng with some space to play Hairston down the right-hand side. Serving the cross in. Bouncing right in front of the 6. Zusi's able to track it down in the corner.
Yeah, it's a decent ball whipped across the 6-yard box from Hairston there, but both Opara and Graham Zusi got themselves in good positions, just held off the couple of Colorado Rapids attacking players there. Opara holding off Kevin Doyle, the Irish international. Great defending from the two Sporting KC guys.
Now here's Blessing, cutting it to the inside. He was looking for Gerso Fernandez, but gives it away.
Again, similar to Gerso Fernandez, Latif Blessing, right-footed, playing on the left-hand side. Automatically he wants to cut inside, whether that be to shoot on target or whether that to be to find a teammate. There, couldn't quite pick out Gerso Fernandez. My only problem with that is you don't see either of these wingers really getting to the byline and putting crosses into the box, not from that dangerous area, just the wrong side of the 6-yard box from defensive points of views.
Dwyer chopped to the ground, but nothing wrong with it, says the referee. Doyle coming the other way, and he is pulled down by Ilie Sanchez. As we are just over 11 minutes in here at Keno North Sports Complex in Tucson, Arizona. Round 1 of the Desert Diamond Cup, Sporting Kansas City and the Colorado Rapids. Nate Bucati with you along with Matt Lawrence, and soon we hope to be hearing from the third member of our broadcast crew, Jillian Carroll, who's patrolling the sidelines for us out in the Arizona sun here today. Now here's Latif Blessing with a turn again, and he is told to get up this time by Alan Chapman after going to ground. Now here's Hairston. And it's Callahan. Doyle has an effort from long range, and it skids past the diving Tim Melia and out for a goal kick. Let's take a look. Did Latif Blessing take a dive here?
I don't think he does. I don't think he takes a dive there. The referee, I think, is insinuating that he did, but I don't think there was a great deal in that, certainly in terms of simulation from Latif Blessing. He is somebody, as we've mentioned more than once now, he's going to have to get used to the rigours of the MLS, the physicality of the style of play here out in the States. I'm going to say, somebody of his stature, but very small in frame, very light, very nimble on his feet. Does only take a slight touch and he will go to ground. I think that is somebody that referees will be watching out for from him.
Here's a 1-2 with Sinovic and Blessing. Blessing coming down the left-hand side. Plays it across, it's behind virtually all of the blue shirts, so Zusi running onto it. Now Feilhaber. He's looking back for Zusi, but they mistimed it.
Yeah, tried to play a 1-2 there, did Benny Feilhaber with Graham Zusi. It's the first time that Zusi's really progressed over the halfway line with any purpose. It's certainly something he's going to want to do from that right back berth. I've had an interview with Graham Zusi just recently, and he said that he's one aspect of playing at right back that he likes, the fact that he can get on the ball an awful lot more, and he is always facing play.
Gerso Fernandez taken down this time by Boateng.
Yeah, this time no arguments from the referee. That's a definite foul on Fernandez. I know there hasn't been a great deal of end product, but both Fernandez and Latif Blessing looking very lively early on in these stages of this friendly match with Colorado Rapids.
There's Feilhaber. Now Ilie. So calm on the ball, Ilie Sanchez. Little too much steam on that one for Dom Dwyer to control.
I think as teams get a grip of this Sporting KC side, they will start to, not quite man-to-man mark, but certainly put somebody on the toes of Ilie Sanchez. He is extremely comfortable, always seems to find time and space on the pitch. Only a quarter of an hour into this game, he's had numerous touches on the ball, rarely gives it away.
And there he is forward to Feilhaber now, out wide to Blessing. He's the leading goal scorer in the Ghanaian Super League, or Premier League a year ago. Was the MVP of the league. We're watching some of the footage. It's some rough pitches to play on in Ghana for Latif, but he said he likes the climate here in Arizona a little bit better. Here's Espinoza, was sandwiched in between a couple of Colorado Rapids defenders and then cleared away by Bobby Burling.
Yeah, it's good to see that first real passage of play from Sporting KC, where they've kept the ball for numerous passes. Didn't come to a great deal, but they certainly seem to have settled slightly better than Colorado Rapids have. Say Ilie Sanchez just picking the ball up off the back four on numerous occasions. Very, very calm and composed.
Sanchez played it forward again to Blessing, who he might have gotten stepped on momentarily. Now the long diagonal from Ilie to Gerso Fernandez, who chests it down. Gerso sets himself up for the cross. It's headed away by the young Courtney Ford.
Yeah, good defensive position taken up by Courtney Ford there. Gerso Fernandez has got to beat that first man with a cross. It's an absolute peach of a ball from the centre of the park from Ilie Sanchez, finding Gerso Sanchez. Probably 40, 45 yard diagonal ball.
Well, that role, the number 6 role for Ilie Sanchez, coming from the Barcelona system to what he says is a very similar system here for Sporting Kansas City. He's been very pleased at how similar the systems are. It's an extremely vital role in that 4-3-3, is it not?
Yeah, it certainly is. It is that 4-3-3 system that he's used to. It
might not, he said, be the position on the field that you really notice during the course of a match, but it's one that's so important.
Oh, it really is. He's that fulcrum, isn't he? He's the linchpin there in the centre of the park. He picks the ball up off the back four. He's the one who feeds the wide players or Dom Dwyer down the centre of the park.
So able to shield it out and earn another corner for Sporting Kansas City on 17 minutes.
Impressed with Gerso Fernandez rather. Always trying to attack that full-back. Predominantly will cut back inside onto his left foot. I think at times he's got to take the full-back the other way though. Go on his outside, use his weaker right foot.
Here's Feilhaber. It's flicked on by Dom Dwyer and cleared away. Let's try to check in now with the third member of our broadcast crew, Jillian Carroll on the sidelines. First matchup of the Desert Diamond Cup here. What have you noticed from the sidelines in terms of the intensity, Jillian?
Thanks, Nate. Yeah, definitely a high intensity, which is great to see in a preseason match. Speaking with both coaches prior to the game, it sounds like, we're going to see the starting 11 for the first 45 minutes, get in there, see what they can do, and we'll see a fresh new 11 for the second half. So really utilizing these 45 minutes of preseason to just get the teams going. Sitting here, I'm very close to Peter Vermees and really excited to hear him praising Zusi in his new role at right back. He's been getting forward quite a bit, and all things look pretty good right now. So definitely using this preseason game in a good manner and getting some good minutes in. Guys?
All right, thanks, Jillian. 19 minutes in now, Sporting Kansas City and Colorado Rapids 0-0. So it sounds like both sides, Matt, will be featuring a completely different side in the second 45 minutes, which is about what you'd expect in these 4 games. They'll be ramping up the minutes for what they expect to be their starting 11s as this 2-week period in Tucson, Arizona progresses.
Exactly. This is still very much an integral part of pre-season. We're still really about 20 days away from that first game of the season for both sides.
Here's Espinoza trying to play through Dom Dwyer, who was trying to stay on side, and is broken up by the sliding Courtney Ford.
I've been impressed with Courtney Ford, that left centre half for Colorado Rapids. Looks very, very strong there, really big in stature, 6'2", really very good positional sense as well. Hasn't been overawed by Dom Dwyer either, really got to grips with him very early on in this game. Put a couple of challenges in on him. But as you were just saying about the sides playing 2 separate 11s, I don't think that's a surprise. I don't think that either coach will be particularly worried per se about the result here. Yes, they don't want to get beaten 6-0, of course, but I think a 2-1 loss or a 3-2 loss isn't a big deal. This is all about fitness right now, and which is why these two teams have already set out the fact that they're going to have 2 separate starting 11s.
Well, the wind is certainly a factor here
yes.
at Keno North Complex, as you just saw that ball from across the field by Zusi that must have curled back in the face of the wind by a good 10 to 15 yards. And the flags are absolutely ripping through the breeze right now. Gerso Fernandez is offside here in the 21st minute.
Yeah,
there you can see the power of the wind, Matt. It's affecting the play.
And it really is. And at the moment, it's very much in Colorado Rapids' favour. They're certainly playing with the wind, but it's swirling around in times in gusts as well. It is difficult. Both teams will need to keep the ball on the floor as much as possible. Then I have mentioned already, this surface is very dry out here too. It is quite difficult conditions this early on in the stages of pre-season as well. It's quite hard for both teams, both sets of players, to get to grips with the surface and the playing conditions overall.
Opara plays it down to Ilie. This little back heel from Latif Blessing, and he is ridden down.
Yeah, and Eric Miller's going to have to be careful here. I'm sure referees are going to keep their cards in their pocket pretty much for pre-season friendlies. But it was a great turn from Latif Blessing, just a little Cruyff turn past Eric Miller. Eric Miller just got far too tight to Latif Blessing. Latif Blessing felt him get tight and just rolled him, turned him very, very well. Eric Miller had to grab hold of Latif Blessing and give away the free kick. Otherwise, Latif Blessing was off and at the races. No chance of Eric Miller catching him.
Yeah, and Miller did get the talking to from Alan Chapman that you mentioned, but no card is shown. And like you said in the preseason, it's really going to take something for him to reach into his pocket.
Exactly. It'll have to be a nasty challenge. You know, a studs-up challenge in the middle of the park, something like that that's going to see him reach for his pocket, reach for those cards. Nobody wants to dish out suspensions or cards in pre-season, the referee being one of them, of course.
Fernandez on to Graham Zusi, right on the edge of the 18. Tries to clip it for the back post. It finds its way to Seth Sinovic, who fires it toward the back line. But we had 2 players get tangled up right on the 6. It looks like Latif Blessing and maybe Miller once again. And apparently the foul is going to go against Blessing this time.
Yeah, I didn't see a great deal in it. It was very much a coming together between Latif Blessing and Eric Miller there. It's a wonderful overlapping run from Graham Zusi, whipped the ball into the danger area as well. Latif Blessing got in a good position on the back post. That coming together, though, the referee deemed a free kick.
Feilhaber was under some pressure from Marlon Harrison, so he plays it back to Tim Melia. Sporting Kansas City looking to play out of the back here. It's out by Beasler. One of the things that Tim Melia told me that his team is, that he was really focused on individually coming into this 2017 campaign is the ability to play out of the back a little bit better. Said he worked a lot with his feet and working with the back line. They want to be able to do that as often as possible this season and maybe do a better job than they did a year ago.
Yeah, it's certainly something the modern day goalkeeper needs to work on. We saw it, didn't we, at Manchester City in the English Premier League. Joe Hart lost his position purely not because of his goalkeeping attributes, but just sheerly from the fact that he's not great with his feet. Tim Melia, as we've already seen, has worked hard on that in pre-season and over the summer, and it is something that he needs to add to his game just to help bring the defence into the game. And obviously Ilie Sanchez as well in the middle of the park's really helping that out. Always available, as we see once again, picks the ball up off Sinovic.
Now Blessing able to get it over to Feilhaber. Now Zusi coming down the right hand side. High into the air, and now that might have been a good ball on a normal day, but the wind just absolutely pushing it backward. Espinoza was looking for Gerso Fernandez, but taken by Boateng, at least for now. Under pressure from Feilhaber, Boateng comes away with it. Well, he does have the size of Toure, if nothing else.
For now, it is just the size that we're seeing. I'm sure the rest will come to the fore as the game progresses and as the season progresses. Just you mentioned it, Nate, the wind really is so strong here. The ball from Zusi, I think in normal conditions it would have been a great ball to the back stick, but that ball has gone up in the air and it has gone back with the wind a good 10 or 15 yards. Made that ball made it look a terrible pass from Zusi, which I guarantee the listeners it wasn't. It certainly set off in the right direction. This wind is incredibly strong, just proving very, very tough for the players out here.
That ball looked like a frisbee that got caught up into the air. Gerso. 6 years of experience in the top flight of Portuguese soccer, so he's a very experienced player, but it's a giveaway by Sporting in the midfield. Harrison coming forward to Doyle. Taken down from behind by Zusi, but no, says the referee. Here come the Rapids once again, though. It's Callahan. Broken up by Zusi. You can see Chapman, the referee, having a conversation with Kevin Doyle, who was certain that he had been fouled by Graham Zusi.
It did look a little bit as though Kevin Doyle got his legs taken away from him by Graham Zusi, but the referee's a lot closer than we are. He didn't think that was a free kick. Throw in nonetheless to Colorado Rapids.
27th minute, 0-0 is the score, and not really much in the way of chances for either side so far. Of course, that maybe is to be expected. Here, Tim Melia has to come out strong off of his line. Fernandez trying to shield off Mark Birch. Now Zusi dancing his way through a myriad of maroon jerseys over to Espinoza. Zusi over to Sinovic.
You said it, Nate. There hasn't been a great number of chances. In fact, just the odd one or two. I think Sporting KC and head coach Peter Vermees will be slightly the happier of the two squads out here. I think their pattern of play, their passing, their periods of possession have been slightly greater. Certainly a problem that Colorado Rapids had last season was in the goal scoring. They certainly know how to keep the goals out. It's at the other end of the field that they were troubled.
And by Zusi, Dom Dwyer gets his forehead to it, but couldn't quite get the power on it that he was aiming for. And it's over the crossbar, and a goal kick for the Rapids.
It's a great cross from Graham Zusi. It really is. Whips it into that danger area. Dom Dwyer finds a little bit of space, but as we see once again, the wind did just take hold of it slightly. Dom Dwyer was in a good position.
Feilhaber taken down inside the area and was hoping for a penalty. He will not get it. So far, Alan Chapman is is slow to blow the whistle in this one on both sides.
Are we sure he's actually got the whistle? Did he bring one? I think that's an absolute stonewall penalty there. It's a real rash challenge on Benny Feilhaber.
Sanchez trying to track back, but it's held on to by Callahan. The Burgundy coming forward. And it's out for a goal kick. Well, Kevin Doyle felt that he had a strong appeal for a foul in the attacking third for the Rapids moments ago, and boy, Benny Feilhaber thought that he was absolutely taken down after that that giveaway by the Rapids inside their own penalty area, but Alan Chapman is having none of it so far.
He certainly isn't. I thought it was an absolute stonewall penalty. I think it was a challenge from Bobby Burling. We haven't had the opportunity to see it on replay, but it looks though Bobby Burling just got his feet in a little bit of a muddle and took away the legs of Benny Feilhaber there. Benny Feilhaber was absolutely furious. Even in a pre-season game, he got a little worked up there. He thought that was a definite penalty, and I must say I have to agree with him.
Zusi down the right-hand side for Dwyer. It is poked out. It looks like we might have a substitution coming up here on the stroke of 30 minutes for Sporting Kansas City. For more on that, let's check in with Jillian Carroll on the sideline. Jillian?
Thanks, Nate. Yes, at about 15 minutes in, Suni Saad hopped up and looked like he was warming up, and now he's checked in. I'm assuming he will replace Dom Dwyer in his first preseason game. I know the fans are excited to see Suni Saad back. I know he's got some unfinished business, is what he said. So we're looking forward to seeing what he will do this half. Guys?
Thank you, Jillian. And Dom Dwyer, this is his first action in live game circumstances here in the preseason after having the offseason ankle surgery. So looks like he'll go around 30 minutes, roughly, here in his first game back. What did you think of what you saw from Dom Dwyer?
Well, he certainly looks fit, that's for sure. He's put himself about. He hasn't had a great number of chances. He had that one header that was just over the bar from Zeus's cross just moments ago. But I think it's sensible from Peter Vermees, the head coach of Sporting KC. Give him 30 minutes. It was obviously decided before the game had started as well. He looks good, he looks fighting fit, but there's no point in running him into the ground in his first pre-season game.
That was one of the better chances for Dom Dwyer on the cross from Graham Zusi as his day is done. Here comes a set piece for Sporting Kansas City after Latif Blessing was taken down. And it's in by Feilhaber. Bouncing out for Fernandez, whose shot sprays just wide of the target.
Another wonderful set piece delivered into the box from Benny Feilhaber. Colorado dealt with it well as the header rolls out to Gerso Fernandez on the edge of the box. He meets it very well with that trusty left foot of his. Just goes probably half a yard wide of the post. Zach McMath in the Colorado goal didn't feel he even needed to dive for that, but it's a decent strike nonetheless from Gerso Fernandez.
Zusi has his clearance banged off the backside of Marlon Hairston, out for a Sporting Kansas City throw to go back to Suni Saad, signed back with Sporting Kansas City in late January after spending the last 2 seasons in Thailand, where he scored 9 goals in 28 appearances. After spending 2011 through 2014 with Sporting Kansas City.
As Gillian that said there is certainly some unfinished business. Suni Saad said it himself. Peter Vermees as well has spoken about the fact that there is unfinished business there, and he hopes that Suni Saad has matured, not only as a person, I think also as a football player as well. I think that experience in Thailand would have done him some good.
Sanchez looking for Benny Feilhaber this time, but it was really just catching practice for Zach McMath. Opara able to get there in front of Hairston. And Ike Opara has gone back down and he's grabbing his right knee.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything intentional for Marlon Hairston, but he stood certainly right down the right knee, I think it was, of Ike Opara. Opara went to get up, just clutched for that right knee.
you see Opara on the ground in any sort of pain, I think it's a scary sight for all the Sporting Kansas City faithful, knowing the history after suffering a season-ending, devastating right ankle injury against this Colorado Rapids team back in 2014, and then, of course, that ruptured Achilles tendon in 2015 that ended both of those seasons. Last year, he finally was able to make it through an entire season healthy, put in 25 appearances for Sporting Kansas City, so it's good news to see him up and back on his feet here and staying in the game.
Yeah, it certainly is. As I say, I don't think there was anything malicious or intentional from Hairston there, but he certainly was caught on that right kneecap with Opara. He looks to be okay, looks as though he can probably shake it off, but again, at this stage of pre-season, just in a pre-season game, there's certainly no point in aggravating any injury. I'm sure Peter Vermees and his coaching staff will be keeping a close eye on Opara. As you say, with two real devastating injuries, they certainly don't want to see him out injured at this stage of the season. I think he's will form and is starting to form a formidable partnership with Matt Beasler there at centre half.
Sanchez taken down quickly with the restart. Here's Zusi, who's looking for Feilhaber. Cronin took it away, but then fell down. And here's Latif Blessing working his way through, and he's told to get back up once again. Gerso Fernandez taken down, and he will earn the foul call against Liam Callahan. And Alan Chapman is going to be calling over Latif Blessing here. So there was the foul, but not a card for Latif Blessing, but Alan Chapman basically talking to the young Ghanaian about what he thinks has been some play acting here a couple times in the first half.
Yeah, I think he's saying exactly that. No more diving, no more simulation from Latif Blessing. I'm not sure there's been a great deal of it. As I say, I've said it time and time again, he is so small in stature. Any slight knock and he does go over.
Fernandez and Feilhaber both standing behind this one. It will be Benny to put it in. It finds the head of Matt Beasler this time, but the flag was up. His redirection was off target anyway, but in an offside position was Matt Beasler.
Feels like Groundhog Day a little bit. Any set piece, Benny Feilhaber is putting the ball into a very, very dangerous position. That must be the fourth or fifth time, a couple from corners, 2 or 3 from free kicks as well. This time Matt Beasler's run was just slightly mistimed, just found himself in an offside position. I think he'll be lucky or think himself lucky that he was caught offside, because his header went a long way away from goal.
When your shot attempt goes out for a throw-in, that's never a good sign.
It's certainly not a good sign, no.
But for Benny Feilhaber, with the service on some of these set pieces, we've talked about the way the wind has played a factor. He seems to have accounted for that very well.
Yeah, he does. He's keeping the ball low, isn't he? As low as possible, just keeping that trajectory below the real strong winds that are 10, 20 yards up in the air.
Beasler flicking it away. Blessing, who's been tucking inside quite a bit so far in this first half.
Yeah, he certainly has, but most of the time he is keeping possession of the ball as well. He is very lively. Yes, we've already said Alan Chapman, the referee's keeping an eye on him and the simulation from him. But I think he's going to be certainly a really exciting prospect. I'm not saying that he's going to play 34 games of MLS football in his first season, but he looks very, very good going forward. And we certainly know from his time in Ghana that he's got a great eye for goal.
Feilhaber tries to scoop it on for Suni Saad. Now Benny Feilhaber again. Right around Boateng. Tried to slide it through for Roger Espinoza, but there was nothing there.
That's a couple of times now Benny Feilhaber's tried to find those through balls. This time that through ball was a little bit straight, needed to be slightly angled to pick out Roger Espinoza. It was straight, so it just trickled through to Zach McMath in the Colorado goal. I do like the interchange of play though. Benny Feilhaber's getting himself very high up the pitch, really playing as a number 10, as it says on his back, getting up there in conjunction with Gerso Fernandez on the right, with Latif Blessing on the left, and obviously now with Suni Saad through the middle of the pitch as well.
There's Benny once again. And when You mentioned him spending so much more time further up the field. Curious how much of that is a residual effect of the calming presence of Ilie Sanchez in that number 6 role.
Ilie Sanchez just does that naturally, just sits in front of the back four, gives protection to the 2 centre halves specifically, and it just allows Feilhaber and Espinosa just to drift naturally higher up the pitch. And that's great for the likes of Dom Dwyer, who we saw in the opening half an hour of the game. It just means he has got people very close by him, people in close conjunction with him.
Well, Opara lost his footing, but was able to get to his knees and break up that intended pass. Suni Saad does well to flick it on to Seth Sinovic, working his way into the penalty box, trying for Latif Blessing. It will be out, and I think the wind is able to keep that out for a throw-in instead of a corner.
Certainly from our position here in the commentary box, we thought that was going out for a corner, but yeah, as you said, Nate, the wind got hold of that, pushed it out for a throw-in. Once again, though, is these Sporting KC's fullbacks getting high up the pitch, overlapping runs. We say it is natural for Gerso Fernandez on this right-hand side to cut inside. We've said about Latif Blessing on the left-hand side cutting inside. That leaves the space for the full-backs to attack, and we know full well that Seth Sinovic on the left-hand side, Graham Zusi now on this right-hand side in his new position of right full-back can overlap. There's acres of space out there, and they're taking full advantage of it.
Actually are going to see our first yellow card of the game, and this is for persistent infringement on Nana Boateng.
Yeah, we did say the referee would want to keep his cards in his pocket, but Nana Boateng now, that must be his 4th or 5th free kick. The referee intimated to him a little earlier on in this half that he needed to cut it out. He hasn't done. I think that's a correct decision from the referee. Especially you consider, and I'm sure the referee will know as well, that both sides are switching round at half-time. The referee knows he's not really going to have to produce a second yellow card in the second half because the teams will switch.
Well, Feilhaber has played some dangerous balls from about this area. Multiple free kicks for Sporting Kansas City from right in this quadrant of the field. Gerso runs over it. It's Feilhaber, but right into the arms of Zach McMath this time.
Yeah, not such a good ball this time. Zach McMath did very well to come out and gather that. It's also a very good line held by Colorado Rapids.
But here's a takeaway by Feilhaber. Now Suni Saad poking it in, a diving save by McMath just to push it wide of his left-hand side.
I'll tell you what, that's a very good save from Zach McMath, the goalkeeper there for Colorado. It's a decent toe poke finish from Suni Saad. Once again, Benny Feilhaber breaking up play in the middle of the pitch. Feeds Suni Saad. It's a great right-footed effort, but a good, strong left hand from Zach McMath.
Well, McMath really put Sam Cronin in a dangerous position, so he had to make up for it with the save there. Latif Blessing, the first attempt will not go. The second attempt with the left foot right into the arms of McMath.
Certainly we can count that as another shot on target from Sporting KC. The second attempt, Latif Blessing hit the ball with his left foot on target, but straight into the welcoming arms of Zach McMath.
Particularly when you factor in this latest flurry by Sporting Kansas City, safe to say that Sporting have had the better of this first half.
Oh, very much so. They've been the dominant team, that's for certain. We do know, though, that Colorado have switched up their team.
Yes.
As we mentioned before the game, they've got 6 under-25s in that side. Probably 3 or 4 of those are 22 and under as well. Very much a makeshift lineup for Colorado. But take nothing away from Sporting KC. They've been very, very dominant.
A couple of shot attempts for Latif Blessing on that last corner. But both of these coaches, Pablo Mastroeni and Peter Vermees, could come into this match with entirely different objectives, things that they're looking for, things that they're looking to accomplish in each of these halves. So judging the run of play isn't always the fair thing to do when it comes to preseason soccer.
No, I think in this first half, Colorado, it's certainly been about blooding youngsters into their side, into their starting lineup. For Sporting KC and Peter Vermees in particular, it's all about seeing the side get back into that pattern of play that they had last season, that 4-3-3, that playing the ball out of that back. that getting Sanchez on the ball as well, which he's done very, very well in this first half. And also seeing some wonderful touches and some good forward play from the two wide men, Jerso, Fernandez and Latif Blessing. I think they've fitted into this side. They've gelled already extremely well, considering, you know, for Latif Blessing, somebody who hadn't set foot out of Africa until very, very recently. And I think he looks right at home here in this Sporting KC side.
Here's the high press again from Sporting Kansas City as they win it back in a dangerous position. Zusi forward to Jerso Fernandez, right on the edge of the 18. Fernandez with the left foot and curling it just wide of the left-hand post.
That's what he's all about, Fernandez. We've said it time and time again, picking the ball up on this right-hand side, cutting the ball inside onto his dominant left foot, went for that curling effort to the back post. I thought it took a little deflection off one of the Colorado Rapids defenders. The referee's saying not, and awarding a goal kick to Colorado.
And difficult to tell.
It was.
Into the 45th minute. 0-0 the score. Sporting Kansas City have certainly had the far greater number of opportunities here in the first half, but nothing to show for it on the score sheet. We expect to hear from Peter Vermees his thoughts on the first half as soon as the halftime whistle sounds. We're hearing that there will be no stoppage time here in the first half. Sanchez under pressure again. Beasler stepping in front of Hairston. Now Espinoza. Suni Saad looking to turn. And there is the halftime whistle. 0-0 the score in game one of the Desert Diamond Cup here in Tucson, Arizona, between Sporting Kansas City and the Colorado Rapids. And let's check in on the sideline with Jillian Carroll, who's standing by with Peter Vermees. Jillian?
Thanks, guys. Peter, great first half so far. We set objectives for every half in preseason. So are you pleased with the work so far towards that first objective?
I am. I mean, I think the big thing was we were talking about us trying to build out of the back today as much as possible. It's one of the staples of our model of play. So I thought it was very good. I thought we broke their lines well. I also thought that we kept the field compact when we went up the field. A lot of times we wind up lagging behind. So I thought we hit a couple of them, and the only thing we didn't hit was a goal. But I don't think we were fortunate enough, because I thought we got in a couple times on some good actions.
And speaking about coming out of the back, it's great to see Zusi in that right back slot. What do you think about his performance?
Yeah, what he does is he provides us with a great opportunity of somebody that can hold the ball and feels very comfortable on it. And there was one little action here which probably a lot of people don't pay attention to, but he actually clipped a little ball on a diagonal to Benny, who was probably 15 yards away. That breaks the spirits of the other team. So when you have guys like that around the ball, it's going to help us in the way that we want to build out.
Excellent. Thank you for the time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Jillian. As Peter Vermees is happy with the way things went in the first half, and you can understand why the scoreline is 0-0, but Sporting Kansas City certainly would say that the advantage in terms of the run of play was in their favor. We'll take a look at some highlights from the first half here. Matt, is Peter Vermees said he liked the way the team played out of the back, and we got to see some of those young dynamic players like Jerso Fernandez really show what they can do in the first half.
Yeah, I thoroughly agree with Peter Vermees. It was great to see some of these young players out there. Jerso Fernandez in particular, I think, really caught the eye. We've seen a couple of highlights of his play here. He's an exceptional talent on that right-hand side. Sometimes, as I've said, I'd just like to see him go on the outside of the fullback's shoulder, attack the fullback's left-hand side.
It was a nice diving save from Zach McMath to keep it all level at 0-0. And then Latif Blessing had a couple of opportunities off the corner. And here's Jerso Fernandez once again. Got back onto his left foot. Couldn't tell if that took a deflection or not, but he couldn't quite curl it inside that far post.
No, he couldn't. That's what he's all about, though, as I say. On the right-hand side, cutting in onto that left foot. He was aiming for that far corner, just didn't quite get enough curl on it.
So from Tucson, Arizona, 0-0 the score at halftime between Sporting Kansas City and the Colorado Rapids. We expect to see an entirely different set of 22 players on the field when we return in just a moment. And just a 5-minute halftime here. Just a 5-minute halftime here at Keno North Complex. There you see Tim Howard, who will not be playing today for the Colorado Rapids, but we did, Matt Lawrence and I, see him going through some training before this game took place today as he's working his way back from groin surgery after the injury that he suffered in the United States men's national team game against Mexico and Columbus over the winter. He is hoping to be back maybe a week or two into the season, for the Colorado Rapids, but he will not be featuring today. So the burgundy and white of the Colorado Rapids will have the ball to start the second half, and we will have an entirely new 11 players on the field for both sides. We'll give you those as it's Nate Bucati along with Matt Lawrence here and Jillian Carroll on the sidelines for game one and day one of the Desert Diamond Cup in Tucson, Arizona. The Rapids going from left to right. Here's Sony Mustavar trying to track back for Sporting Kansas City. Down the left-hand side, it comes from Mikael Williams. Cross over everybody and out. Let's give you the starting 11 now for the second half. Adrian Zendejas will be in goal for Sporting Kansas City. The back line from left to right is Tyler Pasher, Amir Jedich, Kevin Ellis, and Igor Juliao. Sony Mustavar is playing in that holding midfield role for Sporting Kansas City now, with Benji Hoya and Jimmy Madronda rounding out the midfield. The attacking trio is Daniel Shaloui, Christian Valesky, and Suni Saad staying on. He came on at the stroke of a half an hour to replace Dom Dwyer in the first half. For the Colorado Rapids, Cody Mizell, who is a trialist, is in goal now in place of Zach McMath, who played the first half. The back line for the Rapids from left to right is now Dennis Castillo, Axel Huberg, Jared Watts, and Mikael Williams. The holding midfielder is Michael Azira, with Dylan Powers and Ricardo Perez rounding out the midfield, with Dominic Baggi on the left wing, Jaime Saege, who is a trialist as well, on the right wing, and Caleb Calvert, that is up top for the Rapids. So there you go. All new faces on the field here in the second half. Here's Kevin Ellis trying to track one down as he wins the foot race with Calvert, who lands right on top of Kevin Ellis.
Yeah, that's a clumsy challenge from Caleb Calvert there. I don't think there's any need there. Kevin Ellis is just going to clear the ball out of play. Calvert's falling right on top of Kevin Ellis. His forearm has just forced Kevin Ellis's face into the turf. He certainly felt that challenge. You don't really need that 2 minutes 15 seconds into the game.
Well, Calvert, a young player for the Rapids, just 20 years old, spent last year on loan with the Charlotte Independents. Made his MLS debut last August. He was originally a homegrown player for Chivas USA, and then once that franchise busted up, he was drafted by the Rapids in the dispersal draft. But only 20 years old, he's already bounced around a lot just because of the organization that he was brought up in. And now here's Sony Mustavar for Sporting Kansas City out wide, looking for Igor Julio, back with Sporting Kansas City. Spent 2014 on loan with SKC from Fluminense. Tyler Pasher, he's got some real pace down the left-hand side. He is taken down. It is going to be out for a throw-in, though.
Certainly going to be an aspect of Sporting KC's play this season, getting the fullbacks pushed on. You mentioned it there, Tyler Pasher. A lot of pace about his game, loves getting forward. Just as we saw in that first half with the two fullbacks, right fullback Graham Zusi, Seth Sinovic at left back as well in that first half, the first starting 11 for Sporting KC.
One of the things that I'll be interested to watch, Matt, here in the second half from the Sporting Kansas City perspective is Jimmy Madronda playing in that number 10 role in the middle of the field. And we saw Madronda play almost exclusively on the left-hand side in the first couple of years of his Sporting Kansas City career, either at left back, which is where he spent most of last season, or on the left wing, but now moving more centrally. And there's really been some buzz among some of the Sporting Kansas City players about the way he has looked in that center midfield role.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out, just as we see him winning the ball there.
Loses it out for a throw-in for the Rapids, though.
I don't think it's as natural part of his game, that playing in that number 10 role, as it is with Benny Feilhaber. We saw in the first 45 minutes how Benny Feilhaber just naturally falls into those roles, that positions, those gaps in between the back four of Colorado and their midfield.
Juliao trying to serve the cross in. It takes a deflection off of Williams and out for a Sporting Kansas City corner. And now it will be interesting to see who takes the set pieces for Sporting Kansas City. Nobody exactly hustling over there. It looks like it might be Jimmy Madronda almost reluctantly heading over there.
I think it's whoever lost rock, paper, scissors there, wasn't it, to go over. Yeah, nobody seemed to take the ball by the horn, so to speak, and go over there and take the corner.
Well, we know with the first team out there in the first half that it was Benny Feilhaber's corner every time, but it'll be Jimmy Madronda to serve it in with the left foot. Headed away by Azira. Falls to Tyler Pasher. Driving in with the left foot. Still Pasher with it. Chipping it for the back post. Headed toward the goal and into the back of the net. It's Amir Jedich for Sporting Kansas City. Two players who really featured for the Swope Park Rangers a year ago in their run all the way to the championship game in USL, and they combined to put Sporting Kansas City in front 1-0.
That's all about Tyler Pasher, all about his wing play on this left-hand side. The ball falls out to him on the edge of the box. He takes on two Colorado Rapids defenders and just dinks the ball, a little pitching wedge to the back post, and the ball's met very well by Amir Jedich. Wonderful header over the grasping right arm of Cody Mazel.
Well, Amir Jedich is fantastic in the air, which is no surprise considering his size. But a player who attended a small college, Baker University, just a stone's throw from the Kansas City metropolitan area. Worked his way into the rotation. Here's a shot attempt from Suni Saad that's pushed away by Mazel. But Amir Jedich, what a story. Playing at Baker University, undrafted, out of college, and made his way onto the Swope Park Rangers side, turned himself into a player who was a real fixture on that back line that, as we said, had that fantastic run in the USL playoffs last year, and now finds himself with the senior team with Sporting Kansas City and scoring a goal in the first leg of this Desert Diamond Cup.
And with his height, you expect him to be good at defensive headers. You expect him to be very dominant in the air in that back line. But there, he was very deft. A neat little header over Mazel in goal for Colorado Rapids. It's a wonderful story. But what he has got, he's got the physical attributes of a centre half.
Calvert trying to play the cross in. It's knocked away by Zendejas, another part of that big run by the Swope Park Rangers last year when Adrian Zendejas came into the fold. The Swope Park Rangers went 5-0-0 to finish out the regular season. Then they, of course, went 3-0 in the playoffs until that championship game, the loss against Red Bulls 2. So you talk about Jedich, Pasher, and Zendejas. It really contributed to some winning soccer for the first season of Swope Park Rangers, and they've earned some opportunities now with Sporting Kansas City as a result.
And that's really helping this back line gel as we see for Sporting KC first team here this afternoon. You've mentioned the names. 3 of the back 5 that we see here played in that Swope Park Rangers side. They know each other, communication comes naturally between them.
Oof. Tyler Pasher just took a boot to the side of the head from Dennis Castillo. Castillo knew right away. Boy, that's, how would you describe that, Matt?
Well, clumsy, we'll call it clumsy here. It's only pre-season. I don't think there was any malice, no real intent to hurt Tyler Pasher. I think it's almost lucky that Dennis Castillo's foot was so high it went over the head of the bending over Tyler Pasher there. Just scraped his back. Luckily it didn't catch him in the face, otherwise that could have been really nasty.
Yeah,
the one thing I will say is Dennis Castillo's eyes were firmly on the ball. He wasn't looking at Tyler Pasher, but yeah, it was a very, very clumsy, rash challenge.
Like you said, I don't think there's any malice there from Castillo whatsoever, but reckless nonetheless. Here comes Sporting Kansas City forward again. Jimmy Madronda was looking for Christian Valesky, another one of the new additions to the Sporting Kansas City side in 2017. Here's Benji Hoya. And it's out for a Sporting Kansas City corner.
I know this is our second 11, so to speak, that we're seeing for Sporting KC, but they've certainly just followed on from where the first team left Sporting KC in that first half. Already 2 corners into the game, only 9 minutes into the second half.
Keep an eye on number 55, Amir Jedich, on this corner once again. It bounces dangerously toward the back post, still alive. Soony Saad's effort was cleared off the line. Now it's back to Hoya. Well, he was looking out wide for Jimmy Madronda. He got the timing wrong. Let's take another look at that last chance for Sporting Kansas City.
And you called it, watch out for Amir Jedich. This time it wasn't his head. Took the ball on the half volley and it was just cleared off the line by Colorado Rapids. Certainly causing problems from these set pieces, Sporting KC in the second half, particularly from corners, with the wind as well, and the left-footed in-swinging delivery of Jimmy Madronda is really causing problems, consternation across that back line.
And here is Madronda, who's looking to slide it through to Daniel Shallowy this time, but taken away by the Rapids. Tyler Pasher tracking back, broke it up momentarily. Now Calvert, wonderful sliding tackle from Kevin Ellis. Angie Hoya gives it back away though, and here's Michael Azira. Calvert is onside for the Rapids with some space. Calvert punched away by Zendejas. It was from a tough angle. Calvert once again. This time the right-footed shot spins away from goal.
There's a decent run from Caleb Calvert, but he was being played onside by Amir Jedich. The line of Sporting KC wasn't great at all. It was really disjointed. Once again, Zendejas has done very well in the goal for Sporting KC. Just batting out that cross from Caleb Calvert.
Poor giveaway from Huberg this time. Hoya trying to get it to Valesky. Valesky lost his footing. Christian Valesky acquired in a trade from the Timbers in January for Sporting Kansas City. He's on the right wing today. And there's Valesky trying to win the battle against Williams, but Williams won the header. Valesky's going to go in the book here as he goes into a challenge with Dylan Powers. First yellow card shown to Sporting Kansas City. Comes in the 58th minute.
Yeah, rightly given, I think, by the referee, Alan Chapman. Studs up from Valesky. May have caught a bit of the ball, but it was a reckless challenge nonetheless. No real need for that in the middle of the park. Dylan Powers wasn't going anywhere.
Dylan Powers reached over 2,000 minutes played last year for the 4th straight year, but it was the first time in his Colorado Rapids career that he failed to make it in 30 appearances, 29 games played for Dylan Powers last year at just 25 years old.
That's not bad. It shows you his durability, shows you he can get through games. You know full well that they've picked up knocks during those seasons, but he has the ability to play through the pain threshold.
He was also named the 2016 Rapids Humanitarian Player of the Year, specifically because of his work with the Special Olympics. So, good man on and off the pitch for the Colorado Rapids, Dylan Powers.
Yeah, just looking down at this Colorado Rapids side as well, I think this is certainly a more experienced midfield, this second half team. As I say, it was all about blooding youngsters in that first half for Colorado Rapids, 6 under-25s, not so many this time in this midfield with the likes of Dylan Powers and Michael Azira in the middle of midfield. They've got a very, very experienced duo of their triumvirate in the middle of the park.
Let's check in with Jillian Carroll, who's standing by on the sideline.
Thanks, guys. Just got some really great things to share about the bench right now. So Dom Dwyer obviously just put in some work, his first preseason game back, but the work isn't done. He's actively engaged off the bench, encouraging Suni Saad, and just encouraging the guys in general. So it's really great to see that leadership and him just trying to contribute, even from the bench. So good things are happening. Obviously, we're happy we finished one. So hopefully more things will come the rest of the half. Guys?
Thanks, Jillian. Offside flag was up against Caleb Calvert. Well, Dom Dwyer and Suni Saad, no secret, were good buddies the first time around, so they are reunited. And Dom Dwyer, at 26 years old, had an interesting text message exchange with his wife, Sydney LaRue, that he shared on social media yesterday when he texted Sydney, "So what do you think, Paris or Barcelona?" And she thought that he meant, where would you like to go for vacation? He was asking her who she liked in the Champions League game that was taking place yesterday. And I would say that the wise choice was Paris on both accounts.
Very much so. I don't think anyone would have said 4-0 though.
Boy. How often do you say that about any match involving Barcelona on the wrong side for Barca? Siege down the right-hand side working against Pasher. It's cleared away by Kevin Ellis. 62nd minute here in Tucson, Arizona. This is day one of the 2017 Desert Diamond Cup. There will be two more games today, as the New York Red Bulls and NYC FC will be playing after this match, and then the New England Revolution against the Houston Dynamo in the nightcap here tonight. Nate Bucati along with Matt Lawrence and Jillian Carroll on the sideline. Sporting Kansas City lead this one 1-0 on the header goal by Amir Jedich in the 51st minute. So Amir Jedich has impressed enough when he was there were several Swope Park Rangers players in camp in phase one of camp a couple of weeks ago here in Tucson, but Jedich is back here in the fold for phase two, and he's got to feel good about getting his name on the score sheet. Jimmy Madronda is chopped to the ground. It has to be said, I would think, Matt, that 1-0 is a fair scoreline for the way Sporting Kansas City have played so far in this one.
Yeah, it certainly is. They've been very dominant, certainly in terms of possession, and not only that, certainly in terms of chances created as well. I don't think Tim Melia had a shot in anger to save in that first half, and Zende's House in the second has only had to beat out a couple of crosses. There haven't been any shots particularly on target per se. I think Peter Vermees has got to be very happy with the way things are progressing just over an hour into this game. Certainly that first half will have pleased him. I think the team gelled very, very well. Sporting KC added at least 3 new faces to that starting lineup, and everybody fitted in perfectly.
Here's Dominique Badji. Twisted right around Igor Juliau, looking for the foul, doesn't get it. Cleared away by Valesky.
Well, we certainly know from the first half that referee Alan Chapman isn't too prone to giving penalties. Certainly there's no way that Dominic Badji was going to get one there in this second half. Benny Failhaber had a stonewall penalty turned down in that first half.
Sonny Mustavar stepping in front of this one. And now here's Daniel Shaloui, the homegrown player, by way of Budapest, Hungary. Now Igor Juliau. Couple of step overs. Juliau again. Driving it from long range, and that had some nice knuckling action to it, and had to be punched away, uncomfortably so, by Cody Mizell.
That's a great strike from Juliau here. He's with the wind as well. Why not try? Slightly at an angle on that right-hand side, but fully 25, 30 yards out. To good strike in the end, well beaten out by Cody Mizell. I just don't think we can reiterate to the listeners just how windy it is here. Sporting KC certainly have got it with them in this second half. Juliao used it to good effect there. A wonderful strike on goal.
Cameron Porter going through some stretching on the sideline for Sporting Kansas City. Now remember that Suni Saad came on at just about 30 minutes in for the first half, so you wonder if he gets himself to about an hour or so worth of playing time. Might he be subbed out as he replaced Dom Dwyer, who was making his first appearance coming back from the ankle injury. Peter Vermees easing Dom back into things here.
Yeah, I'm sure Suni Saad will want to stay on the field for the whole 90 minutes, having only come on, as you mentioned, after 30. But yeah, I would imagine at some point we'll see Cameron Porter, maybe a little 15 or 20 minutes that I thought at the back end of this second half.
Appeals for handball on Saege, but play on, says the referee. Ball intended through for Dennis Castillo. Jimmy Madranza just sends it down the left-hand side. Jared Watts, now Azira. It's kept in by Williams on the left-hand side, but only for a moment.
Yeah, it's well watched by Juliao there. The ball once again got caught up in the wind. Tough for Williams to keep it in play. Juliao just saw it out, took advantage, took a quick throw into Sporting KC. The game's just gone into a bit of a lull period the last 5 or 10 minutes. Neither team managing to be able to take this game by the scruff of the neck.
Pasher under pressure, loses out to Saege. Here's Baji. Kevin Ellis goes into the sliding challenge, but Baji able to maintain possession. Here's Benji Hoya tracking back for Sporting Kansas City. We have a man down for the Colorado Rapids. To make out. Looks like it is Jaime Saege who is back up to his feet. In the meantime, let's check in with Jillian Carroll once again on the Sporting Kansas City sideline.
Yeah, guys, just a quick update on Opara's knee. He obviously went down with his right knee in the first half, but he's back. He's on the sideline. He's watching the game. No ice. Everything looks good to go. So some good news on that injury.
Thank you, Jillian. And Ike was able to close out the first half. Here's Calvert dancing his way into a dangerous position. A sliding challenge by Jedich. The shot by Powers cleared off the line. Well, not quite off the line, but cleared away by Jedich.
He certainly gets himself in good positions, does Amir Jedich. Once again there, as you say, yeah, it wasn't off the line, but it's 4 or 5 yards out. Did very well to clear the shot from Dylan Powers. I like the look of him, Amir Jedich. It's just that size as well. He's got a real presence about him. And it's certainly helping him playing alongside Kevin Ellis, obviously a very experienced centre-half.
Jedich got a little bit of experience with Sporting Kansas City playing in the CONCACAF Champions League last year. That adjustment, the pace of the game from USL to MLS level is something obviously that's an adjustment period for any player.
Yeah, it's a big jump up, and also he has to get used to, I think, having the ball at his feet as well. I'm not saying that he's not great on the ball, but he's certainly not as comfortable as a Kevin Ellis or a Matt Bees or an Ike Opara. It's certainly one part of his game, one facet of his game that he certainly needs to work on. In terms of stature, obviously defensively, he's very solid in the air. It's covering ground and also, as I say, playing the ball out to the back. That's certainly two things he needs to work on.
Here's Shalawi. Now Suni Saad looking to turn. He was closed down by Azira. Taken back by Shalawi. He fires a shot that just curls over the crossbar. And there you see the quality of Daniel Shalawi. He might look like a young player out on the field, but when he gets the ball on his right foot, Matt, he can be very dangerous.
He certainly can. He hasn't been in the game that much in this second half, but that was very much a snapshot from 25 yards out. Didn't look, knew exactly where the goal was, turned, swiveled, and fired the ball goalwards. Can only have been mere inches over the crossbar. Certainly had Cody Mizell in the Colorado goal clutching at thin air. It's a great strike with the wind as well, as we've mentioned a couple of times. Still swirling, still very strong here.
Kansas City fans were only able to watch him play in 10 matches for Swope Park Rangers a year ago before he was loaned back to his homeland of Hungary to play for Vasas SC. And in those 10 games for Rangers, 4 goals and 3 assists. I mean, he was really showing at a very young age of just 19 years old some quality, and he's back in the fold this year.
Yeah, you can see he's got quality on the ball. It's similar to Latif Blessing in a way, so it's just his stature. It's getting used to the physicalities of the MLS. Looking at him here, he's a lot taller than Latif Blessing, but he's equally as skinny. He just needs to add a bit of power to his game, but certainly in terms of skill on the ball, that's not lacking at all.
Well, talking with Daniel Shalawi a year ago, when he had signed as the 4th ever homegrown player for Sporting Kansas City, he said that was the biggest difference when he came to the United States from playing in Hungary that he noticed was the emphasis on strength training. The players are so much more physical in MLS, and the emphasis on putting on weight, becoming a little stronger and more physical was something that they just didn't even focus on in Hungary, and he's still working on that aspect of American soccer.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, I spent 4 years at college over here in the States, so even coming from England to here in the US, it was very noticeable how much strength training took place here, and you look at the stature and the physicality of certainly a lot of American players, and it is, you do need to add it to your game coming from Europe. And obviously coming from Hungary, that's something Daniel Shalawi needs to add to his. Nothing that a good couple of states can't help out with.
Well, he's in the right city for that, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Free kick for Sporting Kansas City coming up. Could be Madronda, could be Saad here. It's Jimmy Madronda driving it with the left foot, and it's out for a goal kick.
Yeah, waste this time from the set piece from Jimmy Madronda. Tried to use the wind and fire that goalward. Good 2 or 3 yards wide of Cody Mizell's goal.
Suni Saad tried to press up on Powers, but came up empty-handed. Said Suni Saad. Sony Mustavar. It's going to be a challenge for us this year, Matt, when there's a Sony and a Suni on the team, and a Saad Abdul Salam and a Suni Saad on the team. So, not making it easy on us.
No, I feel we may need to pick the team here.
Sliding challenge from Jimmy Madronda. Gets appreciative applause from his teammates on the bench. 74th minute, 1-0 Sporting Kansas City on the goal by Amir Jedich in the 51st minute.
So far, I think Peter Vermees has to be very happy with the way these two halves have progressed. Don't think he could have asked for any more work rate, any more effort from his players. Obviously the goal and the scoreline at the moment, an added bonus as well. Still, let's not forget, still in the midst of pre-season. Most of this work is just fitness work at the moment, and also helping these players and the newer players gel within this structure that Peter Vermees likes to play, the 4-3-3 that we all know about. Worked fantastically well in the first half, working equally well in the second.
Saege playing it on the left-hand side now for Williams. Broken up again by Amir Jedich.
Yeah, those long levers of Jedich helped there.
Huberg with an elbow right into the back of Suni Saad. Huberg, you talk about a big frame. Axel Huberg at 6'7". Here's a collision between Zendejas and Saege. Saege, that is. And Saege is still down. We've got that substitution that we foreshadowed a little bit earlier, Matt, about to take place for Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, and about the time we said as well. He's coming on for 15 minutes of play, Cameron Porter. Suni Saad got a good 45 minutes under his belt as well. Difficult for Suni Saad having 15 minutes of one half and then 30 minutes of the next, playing with completely different sets of players. I think he can be happy with his 45 minutes of play though this afternoon.
Zendejas had to get rid of that under pressure, and it's out for Rapids throw-in. Dennis Castillo being told to march back. Powers. There's that wind once again. He's trying to play that down the left-hand side for Williams, and that ball absolutely just pushed back, and out for a throw-in for Sporting Kansas City.
I think Powers has gone for height with that delivery out to Mikael Williams. Not a good idea with these conditions, these blustery conditions. Ended up a good 5 yards behind Williams. I think that's one thing Sporting KC have adapted to the conditions better. They've kept the ball on the deck a lot more. Not being forced into those high balls where you've got the problem of the wind being a big factor.
Clever touch from Juliao on the right-hand side. And he gives it away. Foul will be called against Christian Valesky. And now, a yellow card for Sony Mustavar.
Yeah, it's a needless yellow card for Sony Mustavar. He kicked the ball away. I don't think the referee needs to issue a yellow card there. We've only got 12, 13 minutes left of play. Slightly officious here in a pre-season friendly. Granted, regular season, that would have been a yellow card.
Here's the goal scorer, Jedich. Back to Zendejas. Zendejas under pressure. Plays it out for a Rapids throw-in. Rapids turning up the pressure a little bit here.
Yeah, Kevin Ellis didn't help his goalkeeper out there, Zendejas. Passed the ball back to Zendejas, and didn't give an angle for Zendejas to be able to pass the ball back to him.
Shot attempt from Jaime Saege. Out for a goal kick. Over the head of Pasher. And Rapids throw-in. Mustavar steps in front of it to win it. Now off the chest of Mustavar and out for another throw-in. This is what earned Sony Mustavar the yellow card in the 78th minute. Time wasting in the preseason.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything in that whatsoever.
There's
a little petulant.
Meanwhile, Saege has been down a couple of different times here in this half for the Colorado Rapids.
He looks
grabbing his left ankle this time.
Yeah, he looks to be in a fair amount of pain, really grasping at that left ankle. Trainers come onto the field. Again, with only 10 minutes left and in pre-season, I don't think there's no need to be a martyr out there, no need to be a hero. It'd be best to come off the field of play, ice up that ankle and just bring a substitute on.
But when you're a trialist in preseason, you're trying to do whatever you can, right?
It helps if you've got two ankles to walk on, though.
That does. And it looks like he is not willing to put any pressure on that left ankle, so it's unfortunate to see, and wish the best for a young man who's trying to make a squad as he's helped off. Haven't seen a substitution yet.
Looked like Liam Callahan's come back onto the field of play, number 34, just on that far left-hand side for Colorado Rapids.
So after sitting out for the past 30-plus minutes, Callahan back into the match.
Yeah, an equally tough thing to do.
Right.
Let's hope he's fully stretched. Isn't needed to sprint too quickly.
Here's Porter. Pasher steaming down the left-hand side as an overlap, and Porter not able to get it there. Tackle from Jimmy Madronda, dancing around a tackle from Azira, but then he lost the ball. They're going to bring it back to the spot of the lunging challenge by Azira, and Sporting Kansas City will have a free kick.
I like the look of Mustavar and Madronda in the middle of the park there. Madronda, wonderful interception there, and then just did get fouled, just his heels were clipped. It's a good decision from the referee. I think that's certainly a position that Sporting KC are going to be very strong this season, is in the middle of the park.
Well, and that could be important, especially if Benny Feilhaber continues to find favor with Bruce Arena and the U.S. men's national team.
Exactly.
He'll be missing some time.
And looking at him out there in that first half, he looks full of confidence. I think he knows he's in favour, obviously, with Peter Vermees here at Sporting KC, but also with Bruce Arena for the national team. I mentioned it a little bit in the first half commentary. Everybody knows there's a fallout, a reasonably public fallout between Feilhaber and Klinsmann. People know that Klinsmann didn't fancy Feilhaber, and I think Feilhaber didn't particularly fancy Klinsmann either.
I was going to say, I think the feeling seemed to be fairly mutual, right? But it does seem that Feilhaber's been reinvigorated by having another opportunity, a second chance with the men's national team, having a new contract with Sporting Kansas City, brings some stability there. He's now the father of two, and he has said that those things all of a sudden come into play, and he seems to be both comfortable but reinvigorated all at the same time, which is a good place to be.
As I say, comfortable and happy. Even just walking around the hotel this morning and late last night, he just looks comfortable, he looks happy in his surroundings, and that's certainly showing himself on the football pitch. As you say, if off the pitch, family-wise, if you're happy as well, it makes it a lot easier for you to be happy on the pitch. And if you've got the national team coach fully behind you as well, that also helps.
It's going to be interesting to see how things play out before that absolutely crucial World Cup qualifier against Honduras in late March. Which players will be on that side? Bruce Arena, the United States, that really need to win that game. Inside the penalty area now, Callahan back into the game, headed away in a difficult position by Kevin Ellis, and then snagged out of the air by Adrian Zendejas.
Yeah, it's a good ball. Hit across the face of the goal from Liam Callahan for Colorado Rapids. Kevin Ellis got himself in a good position. Could easily have headed that one into the back of his own net. Did well just to head it up and into the air. And comfortably gathered by Zendejas. Good defending Kevin Ellis.
85th minute now, 1-0 Sporting Kansas City. First match of the Desert Diamond Cup. Amir Jedich has what would stand to be the match winner at this point on fantastic service from his fellow former Swope Park Rangers teammate Tyler Pasher. Tyler Pasher plays it forward to Hoya, now down the left-hand side to Shallowy. Hoya again. Really battling against 3 burgundy jerseys. This time the Rapids come away with it. Baji on the right-hand side. Now Powers. Driving it in across the 6, ushered on by Juliao. Only as far as Callahan. Azira. Back out to Powers. Running at Pasher this time. Through the sliding challenge of Madronda. Nothing given by the referee, who was right there.
I thought that was possibly a foul on Dylan Powers on the edge of the box. Had no need to go over there. Referee, though, again, a lot closer than us, obviously, Nate, but I think the referee's been a little loose with a couple of his decisions.
It's the first preseason match of this second phase for the referees as well, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Take another look here. Didn't look like much contact from my vantage point on that second look, Matt. What did you think?
I agree with you. Maybe I was a little hasty in my judgment, and the referee was absolutely spot on. That's why he's out there with a whistle, I'm up here with a microphone.
First game for the announcers as well, Matt.
It's going to take myself a while to get into the season.
This will be a set piece for Powers. Appeals possibly for a foul or a handball by some of the Rapids players.
I think you're right now. I think they were appealing for handball. Initial look, I didn't see anything in it. And obviously neither did the linesman just below us or the referee in the middle Alan Chapman, see anything.
Here's Juliao. Jimmy Madronda. 88th minute now. Mustavar plays it back for Jimmy Madronda. Chance for Sporting Kansas City. Try to kill this match off. Start off the Desert Diamond Cup with a victory. This one bangs off of Baji, though, and it falls right to Powers. Back for Baji on the right-hand side. Driving it in low, sliding challenge from Kevin Ellis. And it's out for a throw-in.
2 centre-halves have done very well for Sporting KC in this second half. Both Ellis and Jedich have got themselves in good positions to clear balls and make interceptions.
We had an injury earlier from Jaime Siege, who was subbed out of the game for the Rapids. Let's check in for more on that from Jillian Carroll as we have a stoppage here.
Thanks, Nate. Yep, Jaime Siege went down. It's looking like a high ankle sprain at this point. As you saw him come off the field, he was really hesitant to put any weight on it. Now it looks like he's starting to, but they're looking at naming it a high ankle sprain. Guys?
Thank you, Jillian. The stoppage here could be something that's a little bit newsworthy, and that is, I believe we have our first video replay of this Desert Diamond Cup, as we see the referee now, Alan Chapman, coming back out. And you see him making the hand signal there for a video replay review, the VAR as it is being called with the new technology, and I believe a penalty has been awarded. We talked about the appeals for handball by the Colorado Rapids player on the set piece moments ago. That is a reviewable play, but it can only be reviewed at a stoppage. So, and was a yellow card just shown?
Yes, the referee Alan Chapman's issued a yellow card to Cameron Porter there. As you say, they can only review the video during a stoppage in play. Took a while for the ball to go out, went out for a throw-in. Alan Chapman trotted over to the 10 with the 5th official, had a good long hard look at the video and has deemed that a penalty and that Cameron Porter handballed it.
Zendejas has gone in the book as well, as it will be a penalty and an opportunity to equalize for the Colorado Rapids as we are into the 90th minute as well. So this will be Dylan Powers to do the honors with the stutter step, and he calmly rolls it in just inside the left-hand post for Zendejas, who dove to his right-hand side, and we are all level at 1-1. But I think that the bigger storyline here is that we have seen our first execution of the VAR, the video replay system that MLS is basically auditioning here in the preseason. MLS not the only league across the world, Matt, that is auditioning this new technology. This is done in accordance with FIFA rules. Other leagues, such as Portugal, are trying this system out as well. And we see right there that that a major call. This is only supposed to be used in the case of major decisions, game-changing decisions, and we see it here.
Yeah, and I think that is a major decision, isn't it? At least four or five of the Colorado Rapids players did protest. They did say that it was handball. They all seemed pretty sure it was. The referee obviously can't do anything about it till there's a stoppage in play. Yes, it took a good couple of minutes before the ball went out on the sidelines. Peter Vermees is just below us as well. He's seeking clarification of exactly what happened with, I think, one of the video officials down there. Peter Vermees isn't taking a great deal of notice of the game right now. He's just interested in the result and what happened for that penalty decision. He doesn't look particularly happy, that's for sure.
Well, there's going to be a massive learning curve for everyone involved in this system. There are so many different scenarios that can play out for when the video replay may be used, and then what the timing situation will be. You see the 5 added minutes here at the end of the match, because remember, the replay that took place was, I don't know how much time elapsed before there actually was a replay from the moment that the handball infringement occurred. So time must be added because of that, and we will apologize to our viewers. We, in this situation, do not have access to the same video replay that the VAR people that are in the tent that we just saw down below have access to, as their Porter tried to come in on an awkward challenge there to give Sporting Kansas City the lead again. But my understanding is that once we get into regular season play, if and when this technology is implemented, the people that have access to the VAR will not have access to any other cameras that we and you, the viewer, will have. So once the if and when, again, this system is implemented, everyone will have access to the same video. So if this is a regular season telecast, Matt, you and I will see the same video footage that the video assistant referee has access to help make this decision. One of the things to keep in mind as well, the way this system is set up to work, is that Alan Chapman, the head referee, still has the final decision-making power on any video replay. Yes, there is a video assistant referee who is here, but he is basically a 5th official. He has the power of suggestion to the head referee, but at the end of the day, the final decision, as you saw Alan Chapman head out there to the field and he drew the imaginary box with his fingers, that is to signify that a replay decision has been made, and then he points to the spot because it is his decision to award the penalty based on the video evidence.
Thoroughly agree. All the power has to fall with the man in the middle. Yes, of course, assistant referees or officials off the pitch, they can put their tuppence worth in, but it has to be down to that Alan Chapman, the man in the middle in this case. And look, if it was handball, unfortunately we didn't see the pictures. As you so well put, this won't happen in the regular season. We will all be privy to the same pictures. There can't be any grey areas, as we're just seeing just below us as well in the pictures, just one of the pictures of that video official, the person guarding the camera equipment, the video equipment.
And again, I think the most important thing to underscore from the MLS side of things here is that everything they are doing with this VAR technology is in accordance to the way that FIFA and the international world of soccer have set forth to try this new technology. They don't want to do anything different than what the rest of the world of soccer is trying here in these circumstances. That's the protocol that they are following.
Of course, we have to do that, because then it will go to national games, won't it? We can't have different rules for the MLS than there is for national tournaments. So yeah, I don't see any problem with it. It just looked a little clumsy because it took 2 minutes for the ball to go out of play before the referee could then go over to the video referee and take a look.
And there is the final whistle from Alan Chapman. So certainly a lot to discuss out of this game after all of the soccer was played, because we do have our first implementation of the VAR as Pablo Mastroeni and Peter Vermees come together to talk about this thing. And I think it's the type of thing that you wonder, I think you can smile over these things because it's a preseason friendly. That certainly this is the time that you want to learn about this technology and work through some of the different scenarios, because there would certainly not be smiles about the ending of this match if this were a regular season game and the points really mattered. And I think that's another lesson we can learn here, Matt, is that even with video replay technology, if anyone thinks that there will be an elimination of controversy because of video replay, that is not going to be the case. There is always going to be some controversy when it comes to the sport of soccer.
Yeah, exactly. There's always going to be controversy. There's no getting away from it. We've all seen video replays that we've all deliberated at from 1,000 different angles. We've watched 1,000 different times, and still, you know, we fall 50-50 on the side of whether it was a foul, whether it was a penalty. So yeah, it's not going to eliminate that, but what it is going to eliminate is the forgetting or the getting wrong of those big game-changing decisions. And if that was a penalty, which the referee deems, then that's correct. And the video officiating has caused, you know, the correct result to take place here today. I think we've all learnt a lot today. I think both head coaches have learnt a lot from their players, and also the referees and the head coaches are learning about this video replay system as well.
Now, and I did speak with a couple of people during halftime who wondered if the appeal for a penalty for Benny Feilhaber in the first half was a reviewable play as well. That one did not get reviewed. Every play is viewed by the referee's assistant on the side here, the VAR, but not everyone gets an official review. And that one did not get the official review. There was no penalty awarded there, but Dylan Powers takes the penalty and converts for the Colorado Rapids to make it a 1-1 scoreline to finish this first game at Keno North Sports Complex in Tucson, Arizona. So the final scoreline is Sporting Kansas City 1 and the Colorado Rapids 1. And we've got a first here, our first VAR technology. And it is intended for obvious calls in game-changing situations, and it certainly was a game-changing situation here today as the final score results in 1-1. It was Tyler Pasher setting up Amir Jedich for Sporting Kansas City's goal. That was in the 51st minute to give Sporting Kansas City the 1-0 lead. Then Dylan Powers with that replay-assisted penalty, and 1-1 is our final score from Tucson, Arizona.